Spoiler warning for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. If you have not seen that movie yet, don't watch this video unless you're okay with being spoiled. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into the video. Hey there guys, my name is Tom. Welcome back to my movie channel and thank you very much for joining me. This is another video of Tom's Take. And yes, I'm doing another top 10 today. So considering we've just had Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, again, spoiler warning, with the Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff, seemingly meeting her end in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, I thought it'd be a cool idea to go through and talk about my top 10 favorite Wanda Maximoff Scarlet Witch moments throughout the entire MCU. Before we get started, have you guys got a top 10 or a top list of your favorite Wanda Maximoff Scarlet Witch moments? If you do, make sure you jump down in the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. And if you haven't been here before, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that notifications bell so you never miss out on my take on all things movies. My number 10 favorite moment from Wanda or the Scarlet Witch is in Wandavision, and I believe it's episode 4. Where you've got all the FBI and the cops and everyone's waiting outside the Hex to see what's coming. And then all of a sudden, Wanda Maximoff emerges carrying the drone that they snuck in, throws it, and she's having this, really heated discussion with the director at that point of Sword. She just throws it down and says, "Is this yours?" And, he says something like, "Well, we had to do what we had to do." And then she lays down the law. "This will be your only warning." And it's like, oh, shit. That was the first moment in WandaVision where I think we saw Wanda without being, sitcom Wanda. We saw real Wanda. And we got our first real hint that, she's not okay. I mean, we knew that in the show, but, she really laid down the law like, I will fuck everybody up. And she turned all those guys' guns on themselves, literally had them, try to shoot each other. And so, she was going crazy. And that was our first real big red flag to say, Wanda's going dark. Wanda's going dark. And I called it for 2 years. I've been saying Wanda's going dark. That episode was my first bit of evidence to use. Number 9 goes back to a movie where Wanda first made her appearance in the MCU, and that is in Avengers Age of Ultron. It's the scene right at the end of the movie where Ultron's stuck on that train or that bus, whatever it was, and Wanda flies in and, she just looks at him and then she rips out his metal heart because he's killed her brother. She's like, "Do you know how it felt?" It felt like that. And she's holding it and the look on her face, you could see the pain in her eyes. And the way she just rips out Ultron's so-called heart. And say whatever you want about, the MCU is just full of jokes and it's full of yuck jokes and all that stuff. The MCU has also been quite good at giving us real dramatic, emotional beats. Age of Ultron, I have issues with a lot of the humor in it. And that was one of those moments in Age of Ultron in particular that really stood out to me and really made an impression, really sort of made me really like that character because, she started out in that movie as kind of a villain and teaming up with Ultron and then ending up the guy she teamed up with caused the death of her brother. So I really like that, her journey in that movie. Okay, number 8 is in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and is the scene where Wanda attacks Kamar-Taj. I've seen the movie twice now, and both times that scene is awesome. The first time I saw it, I got chills as this cloud, these clouds come over the Kamar-Taj sanctuary, and then all of a sudden, she just comes through the clouds and she just comes through and then Doctor Strange flies up. And I love that line that Wong gives him, which is, "Be careful with your words." And he flies up there and, she's, you got to hand her over peacefully. I'm trying to be reasonable here. And Doctor Strange is like, "No, I'm not going to give you America Chavez." And I just love like the ominous way that she talks to him in that scene, especially. "I blew a hole in the head of the man I love. And don't you dare talk to me about sacrifices, Stephen Strange." And then, follow that up with the whole scene of her, tricking the one sorcerer and telling him to run. By the way, if Lizzie Olsen ever whispered "run" in my ear, I mean, she could whisper anything in my ear and I'd do it. But that whole scene on Kamar-Taj, her attacking the building itself, her wiping out all those sorcerers, her coming through breaking out of the mirror dimension and coming through the gong, like something out of a horror movie where she's all twisted. Like, that whole sequence is so well done. And it's so good. And it's our first glimpse at what a horror MCU movie kind of looks like. She's so scary in that scene. And yet I still was rooting for her the entire movie. I was still like, no, I stand with Wanda. Let's go. Like people were saying Thanos was right. Hashtag Wanda did nothing wrong. She did. She did everything wrong. But whatever. I love Wanda. Okay, at number 7, we have another one from WandaVision, which I think is in episode 3. The first episode of WandaVision that was actually in color. And it's the whole sequence leading up to Wanda giving birth to the twins. There's so much physical comedy between her and Paul Bettany. She's pregnant, and then she's accidentally, I guess, making the weather change. And then it's raining inside, and they're both hiding under the table. And Vision has that great line where he says something like, "Oh, I know we always discussed a water birth." Like that scene is just so funny to me. And then you get to the point where Wanda's actually giving birth, and Vision and her are doing the breathing exercises. And then you have that famous scene of them both just screaming at each other. And it's one of those scenes where you just see the picture and you can hear it. Like that whole sequence is so funny. And both of them were, you cannot underestimate how good Paul Bettany and Lizzie Olsen are in that show. The physical comedy of it, the emotional beats of it. WandaVision was so good for the most part. I have issues with WandaVision, but anyway, that scene in particular is a standout for me. I really like. And again, there are plenty of moments in WandaVision. I could make a whole top 10 list of my favorite Wanda moments in WandaVision, but I had to pick from other MCU things as well. Okay, at number 6, I have another one from Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and that is Wanda's ultimate sacrifice. That is at the end where she's sitting on her throne, and you've got zombie Doctor Strange there, and she's realized that she has become the monster, and she's realized that the Darkhold is a really dangerous thing to leave out in any universe, in any reality. And she makes the ultimate sacrifice after being shown, her kids think she's a monster and all that stuff. And she makes the ultimate sacrifice. I really like that about this movie. And I know a lot of people didn't, but I really like that scene. And I think it's kind of it really puts a cap on Wanda's journey in the MCU. And she has, in my opinion, the best character arc, the best character development, the best story of any character throughout their entire MCU run. Wanda has the best arc in the entire MCU, in my opinion. Starting in Age of Ultron, right through to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And with that scene, it really finished off her story. And I thought it was a great ending for that character. I really did. Okay, at number 5, we have probably the most talked about emotional moment in WandaVision. And that is Wanda going and seeing the map that Vision drew her of where they were going to build their house in Westview. And her just breaking down. And again, really showing that Lizzie Olsen is a hell of an actress. And the way she performed that scene is incredible. There are a lot of people saying, she should get an Oscar for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And I don't disagree with that. Her performance in WandaVision, though, we cannot forget about it. And especially in that scene, she breaks down, she cries, and then ultimately it ends up being revealed, she's the one, and then she makes the hex. Accidentally, on purpose, subconsciously, however it happened. But again, a really great performance, and really, you could just in her face see how much grief and how much loss she was going through in that moment. It was a brilliant scene, and it made me a little choked up. Okay, number 4 is from Avengers Endgame, and it's Wanda Maximoff versus Thanos. Of course, it starts with Thanos, he's chasing the gauntlet. I think Black Panther had it, and Wanda comes down in front of him and says, you took everything from me. And Thanos, I don't even know who you are. And the way the camera goes in on her face, and she just goes, you will, and then proceeds to fuck Thanos up. And in the words of Kevin Feige, this is straight out of Kevin Feige's mouth, she was gonna kill Thanos in that moment. If Thanos hadn't have done the cowardly act that he did and said, decimate my entire fleet to get her off me, she was gonna kill him. And at that moment, I saw that scene and I went, oh yeah, Wanda's the most powerful human in the MCU. She is. She's the most powerful being in the MCU. No doubt. She almost took out Thanos like that. And no pun intended, by the way, with the snap. But yeah, I love that. I love the way she delivered that You will. It's like, oh, Thanos, you're fucked. And it was such a great payoff from Infinity War the year earlier where, she had to kill Vision, essentially, and then Thanos brought him back just to kill him again. So her sacrifice of blowing a hole in the head of Vision really meant nothing. Okay, at number 3 is the I just feel you moment, but not the one you're thinking of. It's not the one from Infinity War. It's actually the one from WandaVision where she goes into S.W.O.R.D. and she demands to see Vision's body. And then she sits there and, I believe she touches his head and he's in bits and pieces. They've pulled him apart and she's crying and she just says, I can't feel you. And again, heartbreaking. Again, Lizzie Olsen being an incredible actress. And then when you see the behind-the-scenes shots that it's actually Paul Bettany lying there, painted pink, how did Elizabeth Olsen not just laugh the entire time looking at Paul Bettany like that? But again, such a powerful moment in WandaVision. Of all the humor and the funniness of WandaVision and the weirdness of it, it really did a good job of giving us those big, emotional, dramatic character beats, and that was definitely one of them. A great callback to I Just Feel You from Infinity War. For some reason, all the more impactful in WandaVision. I love that moment so much. Okay, both my number 2 and my number 1 are both from Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but I think my number 1's going to surprise some people because it's not what you might expect, but we'll get to number 2 first. My number 2 favorite Wanda moment in the MCU is from Doctor Strange 2, and it is Wanda versus the Illuminati. Did I just say the Illuminati? I did. Spoiler alert. Wanda versus the Illuminati. When they realize Wanda's broken into the Illuminati chamber. And first of all, let me start with this. I love Lashana Lynch as Captain Marvel saying, oh, we can handle your little witch. Not 5 minutes later, she takes them all out one by one, no sweat, didn't even have to work for it. And then you have, they all show up and they're all trying to start. First of all, she walks out in the smoke with that Ultron head, barefoot. For some reason, her being barefoot made it all the more scary to me. I don't understand why, but the blood-soaked face and shirt, barefoot, and she just walks in and all the Illuminati are there and they're going to defeat her. And nope, bam. John Krasinski as Reed Richards, by the way, I love that, says, hey, Black Bolt here, he can defeat you with one word from his mouth. Good job on telling her exactly how to beat him. But anyway, what mouth? And then mouth disappears. And the way she just annihilates all the creative ways in which she destroys all of the Illuminati, I thought was great. The way she turned Mr. Fantastic into like some string cheese. The way she just cut Captain Carter in half with her own shield. Apparently you can't do that all day. And then she drops a bloody statue on top of Captain Marvel. I loved that whole scene. And then, of course, the way she took out Professor X as well. She straight up just snapped his neck. And I know a lot of people have issues with the fact that she just went and took out the Illuminati like that. Like, oh, they were beaten too easily. No, you needed to really show that she was the most powerful, unstoppable being in the universe at that point. And having this like group of, and especially with Patrick Stewart being there as Professor X, it's like, we know how powerful that character is. We've seen it for 20 years across all these different movies. And to have her just take them all out one by one really helped us understand her power level and that she really is unstoppable at this point. And again, the scene is just awesome and it's so violent. That scene alone, the way she takes out those guys alone could have given this movie an R rating. Okay, so here's my number 1 favorite Wanda Maximoff / Scarlet Witch moment scene in the MCU. And it's going to surprise some people. But it is at the end of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, before her death scene, where America Chavez says, okay, I'll give you exactly what you want. She shows up at the house with the other Wanda and the 2 kids. And the 2 kids are freaking out. And they're throwing things at her and they're scared. And she turns around and she just goes, stop it! She loses it with them, realizes how scared they are, and just drops to her knees. And then the other Wanda comes up and just says, know that they will be loved. The fact that other Wanda realized, like, oh, she's also me, and she realized the pain. And I love that our Wanda, the Scarlet Witch, what really turned her around, what really made her realize what she had done throughout the course of this entire movie, was that she saw that her kids viewed her as a monster. because the entire movie, she'd said a few times throughout the film, I'm not a monster. No, not me. I'm not the monster, Stephen Strange. You're the one keeping me from my children. And then for her to realize at the end of that movie, my children see me as the monster. Holy shit, I am the monster. Ultimately leading to that great death scene that I talked about before. I think it is such a powerful character moment. You know, we can talk about the great action scenes in the MCU, and that's what I've done here. I've tried to construct this list with, yes, we have some of the great Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff action beats, but I also tried to give it some of those character moments, those non-action scenes that I think are so good and really help flesh out this character's journey throughout the entire MCU. You know, it really is a full character arc, and I love that moment so much. And I got a little choked up watching that scene, and know that they'll be loved. Yep, that's the good shit right there. Anyway, guys, that is my list of my top 10 favorite Wanda moment scenes from the MCU. Again, if you guys have your list of your favorite scenes from Scarlet Witch or Wanda, make sure you jump down in the comment section below and let me know your thoughts down there. And make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that notifications bell so you never miss out on my take on all things movies. My name is Tom, and I will see you guys next time.